Alright guys, we're back on the Kobalt saw 7¼ inch blade. So we've got it out of the box, and now I've just sort of given it the once over and wanted to see if it needed any adjustments. So if you look over here on the indicator for this angle right here, from what I can tell, this is right on. And the nice part is, of course, they've got a screw here. It came with a screwdriver, so you can adjust that over a little bit if you need to. But this apparently was right on, from what I can tell so far. My angle indicator over here is just slightly off. I need to make that point at 0, and it hard stops right at 0 from what I can tell so far. So that's just a little bit off. I'll fix that. As far as this fence goes, from what I can tell using my setup blocks that actually my grandfather's, or 1, 2, 3 blocks, or they go by lots of names. From what I can tell, this is pretty right on. So we're just going to put some wood in and give it a shot. I just grabbed some old piece of wood. It's pretty straight down this side, so we're going to see what we get. I was also checking on the blade here. Of course, it comes with a Kobalt blade. It's 40 tooth, and I was just looking for some play. And I really can't feel any. There's just a tiny little bit, but it's the machine more than like not being made right, if that makes any sense. Also too, we've turned this laser on, and I was looking at that to see how that lays. It's got a couple of adjustment points. One of them is for angle, one of them is for distance from the blade. And it's got a sort of a weird feel to the knob. It doesn't just roll over. It sort of has its own set point that it likes to sit in. Luckily, though, it seems like the set point is right on. So we're going to take a look at that. You just have to know what side of the blade cuts in comparison to the laser line. So in this particular one, your cut is going to be on the right side. So depending on if you're left or right-handed or how you like to do your cuts, just keep that in mind when you're making your cuts. A couple other things I noticed when I was messing around with it here. It's got a nice little button right here. You push that down, and that locks your blade in place so that you can undo the blade. Okay? So that's sort of a nice feature. Over on this side, too, as far as getting to the actual blade, how do you get all this stuff off? Well, again, that same screwdriver that it came with, you can take all that off. This right here, you'll notice it's open slotted. You can loosen that down there, and that all gets out of your way. So when we go to put a new blade on there, that'll be really cool. All right, so I'm gonna try to cut this piece of wood here. So let's get all plugged in here. Oh, plugged in. All right, get this out of the way. Let's see how it goes. All right, let's just turn this laser on. All right. Now, if you come over to this side, you can actually see it. It's sort of faint. Again, my workshop is a folding table in the driveway, so if you can see that tiny little line there, it's probably super hard to see that. See that? On, off. All right. Just enough for me to see. So let's give it a shot. We're just going to take this little end off here and see how it goes. Okay, now, I hit it right, of course. Oh, maybe I didn't plug it in. Well, that's super interesting. Okay, you can't just squeeze that in. You actually have to flip it down, then push in. The whole bar squeezes in, so that's your safety. Okay. All right, let's try it. Wow. Well, let's stop short. Let's try that again. Okay. First of all, it's super smooth. Way smoother than I thought it was going to be. That cut's good. The laser was right on. Wow. I think I scored a deal. Let's see what I can see here. off. I might need to adjust that just a little bit. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's super smooth. Wow. Yeah, I'm off just a little bit. So my blade's got to come over just a little bit, or I'm sorry, the fence has to come over just a little bit. All right, fair enough. Of course, this is sort of a janky piece of wood, so I can't really vouch for how straight that side is. Yeah, you can see I'm off right there. You see that little gap right there? Maybe, I don't know, 1/16th off? All right, so I'm going to adjust the fence. We'll go from there. Now, here's the question. How hard is this going to be? Okay, well, we're going to find out. So, I think first of all, the blades come this way just a little bit. So, the blade's coming this way, then I got to move the fence the other way. This is going to take a minute. Alright. Oh, I never noticed that, too. So it's got to stop up here. Okay, let's take a look at this. Sorry, I'm like a cat with a laser pointer. So it's got to stop right up here. Okay, it's got a ledge you can get out of the way, or you can put that stop ledge down there. Just noticed over here, it's got a stop adjustment right there. Okay, so you can actually really dial in where that stop is for when you're flipping it over to the side to get that bevel cut. That's nice. That's a nice feature right there. So it takes the guesswork out of hitting your zero. But it looks like it's pretty zeroed in. And look on the other side. It's got a little one right there too. So when you bring that thing over, it gives it a point to stop. Look at that. Now it's stopping at 45, but it's got increments over to 47. So if I move that down, it'll probably allow that. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I think we've got a pretty decent saw on our hands. I'm just going to have to adjust this fence just a little bit to get it dialed in. I'm actually not entirely sure what the best way to do that. I don't want to loosen the whole fence and then move it willy-nilly all over the place. I think I'll be chasing square for a long time if I do that. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to figure out how to do this. Then I'll show you how I did it. And then we'll do something. Hopefully make a square cut. All right, so I've made several cuts. I finally found a piece of wood that's got a factory edge on it, so I can just sort of make sure that I'm not nuts and that I'm actually cutting to the side. And it definitely was. So what I did is I got the included tool out and I came around the back side here. And I sort of noticed right away that fence, you can see the bevel in the cast of the material right here. And then you see a little bit of that flat area sticking out from the actual working deck. But if you come over here, this was actually sticking back like that. So you can actually use the machining of the saw to figure out what your adjustment is. And there's a limit too, obviously, because these holes in this fence are only so big, so it's only going to let you move it so far. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to line up that fence with that machine edge from that working surface on both sides. Tighten it down, and I'm going to go ahead and recheck my cut. Let's see what happens with that. Okay, so I just cut this board right here, and sure enough, we've nailed it with that super simple adjustment in the back. Okay, we've got this handled. So again, let's go around the back. This is all I did. These machined super nicely. I didn't have to fight with them at all. They came loose real easy. I went ahead and lined the back of this fence up with the very edge of the working surface. That's the bevel for the case of the machine. I did it on both sides, tightened them down. I did the outer bolts first, inner bolts. I don't know if that really made a difference or not. Tightened down super snug, super fast. it just feels like good quality, to be honest with you. That goes right there. And I got a square cut. I'm super happy with this thing. I am super happy. $160 on sale. Or it just said Price Lord. Maybe that's their new regular price for it. Maybe it's not sale. Regardless, I'm going to be able to do 95% of everything I do with this. And the other 5%, I'll just use other tips and tricks to get around it. This is a heck of a deal. I'm super happy with this. All right, let's go make some stuff.